Hi, I'm Stephanie Dang, and it is International Scrapbooking Weekend. I'm super excited to see you all here, and welcome to my very first mini class with HipKit Club. First thing first in color coordination is to organize your products by type. With HipKit Club kits, you don't have to worry about choosing colors too much because everything in the kits work so well together, no matter what color theme you choose. I typically organize everything by shape or type, labels with labels, round labels together, or flowers with flowers, for example. I also bought these puzzle trays to help keep the embellishment kits organized. When you have things organized, it makes it much easier to color coordinate and also see what products you have to work with. I organized the flowers by likeness, like big bundles of flowers, or like single flowers like that one, and smaller flowers at the bottom, and like, flying objects or butterflies or fireflies on one side. So here's how I have all my products set up on my desk area. The left side is basically the main kits and project life, and then the right side is more like the embellishment kits. And of course, I have all my paper kind of set up to the side on this little portable table for my trimmer, and it just makes everything easier. So here we go with actual color coordinating. I fan spread the papers to see what I have. I typically like to grab something with the most colors in it or papers that have bigger patterns. The colors on the chosen paper is typically how I grab the next set of paper, and also where I pull embellishments to match it. When color coordinating, there is so many color theme choices that can work with the patterns. You just have to pick what you like most or think looks great together, or you pick what you want to work with right now. There is actually no wrong way to do this. You just have to narrow down your choices and start from there. Take the quilted square pattern paper, for example. The blue stripes look good with it. The red-pink stripes also look good with it. This zigzag orange can work as well. It just depends on what style and look you're going for. Typically, you want to pick out at least 3 papers from the set, one with a busy or big pattern, next a medium pattern or striped paper, and last a solid color or smaller scale designs. You start with those 3 and then you can always add more later down the line. Alright, so I'm going to grab my photo and I am going to actually pick colors and patterns based on my photo. It just makes it easier and lessens down my choices for a color theme. You don't have to do this. You can just pick whatever color you want and then add any photo regardless of color. I've done both, and as long as your papers and embellishment match, it's not really game over when your photo doesn't match the paper or the color combination. It will still look good. So I did end up with 4 paper. I wanted to add a small bit of yellow, but I do actually start with 3 and then add that 4th blue striped paper later on. I trimmed this yellow paper down to a 10.5 by 10.5 inch. And I'm layering this white paper on top and trimming this to a 10 1/4 by 10 1/4 inch. I just don't want to see too much yellow, just a little hint. I'm going to glue everything down and add some minor stitchings to the border. I'm taking this homemade template and trimming my photo down. Alright, so I still want this blue stripe on there somehow, but I just want a little hint of it, because that blue stripe is actually very bold. I'm going to set that behind to remind me that I want to use it later. So here's where you have choices in design. Just don't glue anything down as you're doing this. Pick the colors that come from your color theme. Anything will work as long as it's not by itself. Meaning that you can't just throw in a random color without pulling that color throughout your whole layout. Most of the time, it's just not going to work out. So I'm going to start layering my photo. I'm choosing this red paper and then pulling in this lavender purple color. my photo and pinching where I want to trim off the excess. There is not a set size because everyone's photo size will be different. If your photo is bigger, then just make sure to size down your embellishments later and use like products. The layout should still turn out okay and similar. When you're starting to glue anything down, keep the adhesive more towards the center so that you can tuck some embellishments later. The trimming of the paper doesn't have to be exact, just close enough. You also just eye it with your own photo and see how big or how wide you want it. Now I'm ready for this big blue stripe paper that I did not forget about. I'm just gonna trim it a little smaller than the red and pink stripe background. That blue stripe background is just gonna peek through this pink and red stripe background or paper. I'm gonna start pulling in more yellow. There just doesn't seem to be enough yellow, and I want my page to have a balanced look. Remember, we're not really gluing anything down just yet because we're playing around with layerings and tucking things in here and there, and we might change our mind, so it's better to not glue anything down. So here we go. We are going to pull in more color. I see that there is a small tiny bit of green on the background paper, and I want to bring that out. Alright, now the real fun begins when we start bringing out the embellishments. I'm going to start with the bigger embellishments and work my way down all the way to the small embellishments to bring in more detail and just more dimensions. It also just makes it more fun to look at, so I'm going to be starting with, large, then go to medium embellishments, and then down to small embellishments. And then, of course, at the very end, you add little small flares if you want, or if you have room. So that would be like little small diamonds, pearls, and enamels, things like that. Okay, so I noticed the layout had a bit of blue, but I need more blue to pull around the whole layout to make the bold stripe kind of stand out. So that's why I added that little blue flower right there. And next up is this little corner blank area right there. I need to figure out what to do there, and I'm pretty sure I just need to bring in some more colors over there as well. Now I'm taking a look at my layout, and I feel like there's so much yellow going on, so I need to balance that out to the top and bring some yellow in there as well, so that not all the yellow is just standing in one area. However, I don't want too much yellow because there is a lot of bold yellow, large area yellows right there. That's why I chose this little note tag and kind of tucked it behind with just a little bit of yellow peeking out. So I took a look at my layout again, and I feel like the corner is missing blue, so I want to bring out that blue right there. That's why I added that blue flower, so that it works as a triangle. There's that blue border stripe with that blue flower at that one corner, and then the blue flower at the top corner. If you drew a pencil around it, it should look like a very tight triangle. So I pretty much have a little bit of color of everything, a little bit blue, green, and yellow, but I feel like that space on the left is a little blank, and I want to make that area, that cluster a little bigger, because that's supposed to be the largest cluster, and then I go to the medium cluster and the smaller cluster. So that's why I added that flower cluster right there because it had the orange, the blue, the red, and the green in there. Throughout this embellishment process, I'm going to be adding some dimensional foam adhesive so that my layout doesn't look flat. It also helps your layout stand out. Now I'm figuring out where I want to place my journaling, if any, and my title. I'm looking at the layout and I think it will look best at the bottom, but I just need to push everything towards the top. This is why I don't glue anything down for the most part until the very, very end. So now I'm staring at my layout and I'm like, okay, what color do I need to bring out more, or what's missing? So I already used like the blue, the yellow, and the green already, but the color that I have not really brought in or used too much is the red. So that's why I am adding this little red word phrase down there. Also, notice my placement of the red phrase. In the process of embellishments, I typically like to keep things in sets of 3 and in a shape of a triangle. So I see a little red on the large flower cluster and a little red at the edge of the note tab at the top. And that's why I end up placing that little red phrase right there. Keeping in mind the triangle of embellishments, I notice this area is plain and that I also need to bring in medium clusters. I already have the large clusters and the small clusters. Also, I'm bringing in more red because I feel like the little red on the note tab at the top is just not enough red. I'm also thinking of when and where I need to make my embellishments pop. I still do this with an idea of large, medium, and small sizes, and also working in triangles. This area looks a little blank, so I also want to make that into a more medium cluster. Right now it looks a little odd because the size is a little too close to the small size cluster at the top. So that's why, I added another flower. And also working in triangles, that's why I'm adding all these flowers, because I got the large flowers on the bottom and then the top, I got the small flowers. So on the medium clusters, I also wanted to add more flowers. So then there's that flower trio again. In all layouts, it just needs to look balanced instead of things being all over the place. So I'm looking at my layout and I feel like the blue is popping out on the flowers, and I'm like, okay, well, it's missing a third blue. So that's why I'm adding this little blue word phrase right there. Again, I'm working in a triangle shape. I want it to be in a triangle shape, but I just don't want it to be a right triangle because it's just too straight, too clean. So I'm moving it over a bit. So now I'm looking at my layout and I feel like this bottom area is a little blank. And keeping in mind that my title is going to be blue, I don't want to add any more blue or red or green because I feel like those colors are so bold. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, let's work on yellow again. And I'm looking at my embellishments and I find this little phrase that's white with a little bit of orange. And I'm like, okay, that will work because it's subtle. I can actually finish here and call it a day, but I like to keep working until I am fully satisfied. Also, I just have so much embellishments to work with that I keep layering it on until I can't anymore. But because I have so much going on already, I will only add things that are subtle and not bold. The only bold thing I want right now is my title. I feel like the clusters aren't too balanced in size, so this is why I added the butterfly at the top. So it will just draw my eyes around the page more. It makes layout more fun to look at. So now I'm completely satisfied with how the layout is turning, and I'm missing my title, and I'm adding a blue title to the bottom, because the whole idea of this layout is to draw your eyes around the whole page and not just a single part. Because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not the look that I was going for. I'm using this clear plastic ruler to help me position my title to where I think looks the best. Okay, so I'm about done with my page, but I noticed that this green is missing something, so I decided to add a little word puffy sticker right there. So I picked red because I'm looking at the clusters and I feel like in that small clustered area there is barely any red, so I wanted to make that pop out more. There's basically no room on my layout to add any more embellishments, so that's why I'm taking these stamps out, because I want to add kind of like my own writing to there, but not really. So I'm using these word stamp to stamp it on directly onto the background. Alright, this completes my mini class, and remember, if you played along with me, to post in my Apple on Hip Kit Club's group's Facebook for a chance to win a $15 gift card. Thanks so much for playing along.